Due to a number of circumstances, we decided not to go on holiday too far this summer and to divide the holiday in two parts of a week each. The first week we spent a few days on the Belgian coast in the Panne. The reason is that my husband's family was there on vacation and that allowed us to spend some time together. Then we continued to France where we stayed in Rouen. From there we could do a number of excursions. The second week went to Germany, where it was mainly a city trip with Karlsruhe and Stuttgart. We already knew from previous times that there are many snails to be found in the Panne. The large groups of Theba pisana are very obvious. These occur in large numbers and can be found on poles and basically everything that rises above the landscape. The shell of the white garden snail, with dimensions of 12 to 19 mm by 16 to 24 mm, is moderately spherical conical and relatively small. Elsewhere in Europe, the Theba pisana is often slightly larger. The color varies from white to slightly yellowish. It is often covered with a pattern of spots and stripes that sometimes form dark bands. However, there are many subspecies in the Mediterranean areas that have a different shape of house and/or a different pattern. This species has been introduced to many areas of the world such as the United States, South Africa and Australia and is often considered an invasive species. This is a species that likes warmth and is sensitive to frost. Another species, which is actually very common, is Sepia nemoralis. This snail comes in many color forms and I personally think this is the most beautiful native snail. The species that is not native is Cornu aspersum. This species actually comes from the Mediterranean region, but it spread northwards probably started 8,000 years ago. In my own garden, this is the most common species, and when it rains, you can see dozens of them at the same time. After an evening walk, we again saw some Theba pisana sitting on a wall, but also some smaller snails. These turned out to be Cochlicella acuta. This pointed snail can grow to a length of 10 to 20 millimeters. The color is very variable, with often brown spots on a white background, sometimes with spiral bands. We conclude with some images from a local festival. This is also holiday. After this we went to France, where we visited some zoos near Rouen. But there was also time to enjoy the beautiful weather on the beach and to visit the Abbey de Jumièges. Only ruins remain of the abbey, but it is incredibly beautiful to visit. It was a warm day and I also looked for snails here and eventually only found Pomacia elegans, but unfortunately I didn't take any pictures of this. We also visit the museum d'Histoire Naturelle in Rouen. This is still a traditional museum and you can see that in the images. In itself not very inspiring, but in the end a somewhat larger mollusk collection was shown, something you don't see very often anymore. Museums fail to build a fascinating exhibition around mollusks, and during modernizations these collections often disappear behind the scenes. This means that the first week of the holiday is over. After we get home, we leave again, this time to Germany. After an overnight stay in Trier, we drove on to Karlsruhe, but stopped in between at the Reptilium in Landau in der Pfalz. This is a large private zoo with mainly reptiles. However, in one terrarium there are also a number of snails, this Agathina fulica, here still under the name Agathina fulica. Then we went to Karlsruhe. Here is also a historical museum with a large aquarium department. The large aquarium room is beautiful and modern. In addition to fish, axolotls can also be found here. This habitat for Australian freshwater crocodiles is shared with a number of Australian fish species, especially rainbow fish. While I was taking pictures, my husband was filming. The large marine aquariums appeal to me. No bear aquariums here, as you unfortunately see too often. This coral reef, full of fish, has a real wow factor. There is also another part with largely smaller aquariums. This looks more like a standard aquarium, although there were also some special animals such as these cuttlefish. The jellyfish always remain super beautiful. How they can move so gracefully in the current is wonderful. Snails are always an exception in an aquarium. Finally, there was an aquarium where some Neritina snails could be found together with Tilomenia orange. The most special animal was this Chinese giant salamander. This species is kept in several zoos, but is often difficult or impossible to see. Karlsruhe is a very beautiful city. Of course, a visit to the castle was not to be missed, and we strolled through the many streets. We also visited the zoo, which was close to our hotel. We only filmed in the tropical hall where the aquariums are located, and these are beautiful planted. was also special that you can walk through an enclosure with bats that fly around your head. Then our journey continued to Stuttgart, but we didn't film there anymore. Stuttgart is a more modern city, and we also spent a full day in the zoo there, without being able to see everything thoroughly. However, the aquarium itself was very outdated. This means that the summer holidays are over. Many wonderful memories remain, and plans are already being made for future holidays.